Welcome to OSINT Sport and Sports Finance, the podcast where intelligence analysis meets the business of global sport. I'm John Luca, founder of www.osintinvestigate.com. Today is May 17th, 2026, and in this episode, we analyze the biggest developments in sports finance and OSINT investigations from May 11th through today. Let's get into it. Segment 1: Football's Financial Arms Race. European football is entering another dangerous spending cycle. Across England, Spain, and Saudi-backed competitions, clubs are aggressively competing for talent despite growing financial instability. This week, analysts tracking UEFA financial disclosures and transfer market activity noticed a significant increase in off-balance sheet commercial structures linked to sponsorship and image rights deals. Why does this matter? Because modern football finance is no longer just about ticket sales or television money. It's about geopolitical capital, private equity influence, sovereign wealth strategies, and global branding operations. OSINT researchers increasingly monitor corporate registries, shell companies, sponsorship ownership, and state investment vehicles to understand who truly controls elite football. And the answer is becoming more complex every season. Several Premier League clubs are now functioning less like traditional sports organizations and more like international investment assets. The football club has become a geopolitical platform. Segment 2: Sports streaming is the new battlefield. One of the biggest stories this week remains the streaming war around live sports. Formula One, UEFA competitions, and even niche sports properties are now at the center of bidding wars between traditional broadcasters and technology companies. The reason is simple: live sports still guarantee audience attention in real time. In a fragmented digital world dominated by short-form content and AI-generated media, sports remain one of the few products viewers consume live. That creates massive value. OSINT analysts following media contracts and corporate acquisitions are seeing aggressive positioning by companies connected to Amazon, Apple, DAZN, Netflix, and regional telecom giants. But this is no longer only about broadcasting rights. It's about ecosystems. The company that controls sports streaming also gains advertising intelligence, fan behavioral data, gambling integration opportunities, subscription retention, and AI training data for future platforms. Sports are becoming digital infrastructure, and the most valuable asset may no longer be the game itself, but the data generated around it. Segment 3: The gambling economy inside sport. Another critical development this week involves betting sponsorships and sports integrity monitoring. Regulators across Europe continue increasing scrutiny over gambling partnerships connected to football clubs and streaming platforms. And this creates major financial tension. Many clubs became financially dependent on betting money over the past decade. But governments are now demanding greater transparency around ownership structures, offshore operators, cryptocurrency betting firms, and influencer-led gambling promotion. From an OSINT perspective, this is one of the most important areas in modern sports intelligence. Why? Because betting ecosystems generate enormous amounts of data. Patterns in sponsorships, payment networks, shell corporations, and digital marketing campaigns can reveal hidden ownership structures, financial risk exposure, market manipulation, and sometimes even transnational laundering activity. Sports finance investigators increasingly use open-source intelligence tools to track these networks across multiple jurisdictions. And as betting expands globally, intelligence analysis becomes essential. Segment 4: The future of sports intelligence. So what comes next? 3 major trends stand out. First, artificial intelligence inside sports scouting, betting analysis, and fan engagement will expand rapidly. Second, private equity firms and sovereign wealth funds will continue treating sports clubs as strategic assets rather than emotional investments. And third, OSINT methodologies will become more important across journalism, compliance, sports governance, and financial investigations. Because modern sports are no longer only entertainment. They are global networks of money, influence, media, data, and power. Understanding sport now requires intelligence analysis. That's it for today's episode of OSINT Sport and Sports Finance. I'm John Luca, and you can find more investigations, intelligence analysis, and OSINT research at www.osintinvestigate.com. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with fellow analysts, journalists, investors, and sports business professionals. And remember, in modern sport, following the money means following the intelligence.